which I guess it's been long enough that you can make a Batman story about Jack the Ripper. I wonder when Batman will fight Osama bin Laden. Thanks, Frank Miller.
I made a promise to my parents in a circle of light. I would vanquish evil in a cape, maybe some tights.
Welcome to Capes and Tights. I'm back with another tier list about the Batman. This time I have the tier list all picked out and everything. This is every Batman movie, animated or live action. I think I gotta add another tier. I don't know how to do that. So there's a tier for me to put my unseen films. We're going to start off here. I think this is a knockoff Batman movie, an unlicensed Batman movie from like the 50s. Never seen that. It's going to get the ones I haven't seen out of the way. Some of these straight-to-video movies. Well, most of these are straight-to-video, technically. But these kind of more child-friendly ones. Never seen these. Don't have a huge interest. Maybe I'll get to them one day. Batman Ninja. No interest. That movie caters to the autistic crowd, you know, a little more than normal. But yeah, let's get started on the movies I actually have seen. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the 66 throwback animated movie with Adam West, God rest his soul. It's okay. It's good. If you like the 66 show, it's pretty neat to see kind of a lost episode feel. See a villain, Two-Face, played by William Shatner. It's cool to see a new take on an old concept, an old format, and see a new villain put into that universe. Other than that, though, it doesn't stand out too much. Like I said, it does play a lot like just an episode of the old TV show. Let's keep on moving. Batman 89 is one of my very favorite Batman things ever. I'm a huge story guy. I love great stories and great characterization. This movie doesn't have a lot of that, but it does have a lot of style. It has definitely the best Batmobile I've ever seen. The suit does get better in Returns. In Batman Returns, the sequel to Batman 1989. But the suit's still awesome. And yeah, like I said, huge on the style. Jack Nicholson's great. Michael Keaton's great. Not an amazing story, but pretty great Batman vibe going on through the whole thing. Maybe that's a little higher than it deserves just for that description. But yeah, it's my list. Keep on moving. Batman Returns. I would actually put Batman Returns below Batman 1989. It kind of feels a lot more like a Tim Burton movie. It's something you hear a lot of people say, but it's true. I'd put it below the 1966 thing, just because the novelty of the 1966 having like a new little episode. I like it better than whatever Tim Burton's got going on there, but I'll give Batman Returns a rewatch every once in a while. It's a fun time. It's a cool time. Too much focus on the villains, not enough Batman in there. Fuck. Batman and Robin, not gonna pull any punches, not gonna pull your leg, not gonna pull you around. It's not good. Worst tier, D tier. It's a bad movie. I really can't think of anything good to say about Batman and Robin, even though I try to defend a lot of things on this list, think of something good to say. I mean, it's cool to see Mr. Freeze in live action somehow. Batgirl doesn't even really feel like Batgirl to me. Not good. Not good. Batman Forever, on the other hand, I like quite a lot. I actually like it better than Batman Returns. I might even put it over 1966 movie there. I wonder, is the 66 the actual live action 1966 movie here? No. I don't think they put it. That is weird. Maybe I'll be wrong and I'll notice it later, but no, I don't think it's here. Well, that one probably belongs about top of B tier, just for the sake of completion. Let me give you some insight as to how I'm doing the tier list here. S tier I'll be reserving for one live action movie and one animated movie. My very favorites out of each category. And I'll give you my reasons for those later. And as well, my tier list works so that the item closest to the tier, the actual ranking. So, for example, Dark Knight is closer to A than Batman 1989. Means I like The Dark Knight more. Do I actually like The Dark Knight more, though? Probably not. I don't know. That's a different question entirely. But just so you know, that's how the ranking goes. I do continue to rank them within the tier. Some people don't do that. Some people do. Just letting you know, that is how I do it. So we're going to skip around a little bit, and I'm going to go Year One, Batman Year One. How much do I like Batman Year One? I like it better than Returns. I really like it better than 66. It's probably top of B tier. It's very Gordon heavy. I remember Batman Year One, the animated movie. I did watch that when I was first really getting into Batman, and I was kind of disappointed by the lack of Batman. But that story is pretty Gordon-centric. And it does have some of the iconic Batman moments from that comic. Batman Year One is easily one of the greatest DC Batman or comics in general, superhero comics. So yeah, it's a pretty good adaptation. Dark Knight Rises, I would put... right now I'm actually kind of in the mood to watch the Nolan trilogy. So that may be influencing my ranking here a little bit, but I'll put it above Batman Forever. For a lot of people, that'd be a no-brainer, but I'm not huge on Dark Knight Rises. Begins and Dark Knight, obviously, they're great. They're very universally loved, but Rises does catch some heat. And I think rightfully so. It's not great. It does have its flaws. Talia was not handled well. She's a very cheap twist in the movie. Very poorly done twist. I hate the way that she's like a secret love interest that's secretly a bad guy. And the whole plot is very similar to Begins with the Doomsday device that's stolen from Wayne Tech and shit like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I haven't seen Rises in a while, but like I said, I do want to rewatch it soon. So maybe that opinion will change. And also the whole Robin thing. You should have just called him Dick in the part at the end where they're like, "Oh, why don't you use your real name, Robin?" His name would be Richard if he was Robin, or Tim, or Damien, or pick one. Pick whatever you want. Duke Thomas. Pick call him Carrie. Terrible part of the movie. Return of the Joker is fantastic. But I can't get over the twist with the Joker. If you haven't seen... by the way, spoilers for every single one of these movies. I'm sorry. I should have said that sooner. But as for Return of the Joker specifically, I don't like the whole reveal and how that works. If you don't know and you don't care about spoilers, or if you need a refresher, in the movie... the Joker's back in the Batman Beyond universe. Joker has been thought to be long dead. There's a new Batman that's, working under Bruce Wayne. The Joker's thought to be long dead. He comes back and he seems very young, much more young than he ought to be. And it turns out that Tim Drake, one of the former Robins, is transforming into the Joker due to an implant placed in him by the Joker. And the Joker's just been running around basically using his body and performing as the Joker, committing crimes. I cannot get past that leap in logic to make the movie an S tier, but it is a great movie. It's a very interesting, fun movie to watch. I love Batman Beyond, but sometimes you need to make the movie better. I don't know. No. Just in my opinion, there's certain times where the movie's so good, you can get over any leap in logic they want you to make. You can suspend your disbelief all day. But for Return of the Joker, it's just not good enough for me to get over that little conceit. So it stops it from being one of the best, in my opinion. Killing Joke, shit can. I don't know if there's anything here that's worse than Killing Joke. Because it's a very cheap feeling adaptation of a well-renowned Batman comic. It's not one I'm too hot on, but it's very well-renowned. And the point of the story is really Joker and Batman's relationship, and also, some of Gordon and their struggle with the line between, good and evil, things like that. And to make it so that Batgirl and Batman have a relationship, it just feels like a cheap way to get you to care about Batgirl, when if you're seeing this movie, you already care about Batgirl, and also you're not focused on Batgirl. She is not the focus of the story. She does kind of just get fridged in the Killing Joke story, but what they do here does nothing to service that or fix that or supplement that in any way. It just cheapens it even further. And I do think that was an issue in the original story, but what they do here does not make it better, it makes it worse. So yeah, Killing Joke, terrible tier. Batman Sub-Zero, I saw it when I was a kid, but I don't really feel comfortable even speaking on it, because I don't remember it at all. So it's going in NA, even though I technically have seen it, unlike the others, but I haven't seen it nearly recently enough to speak on it. Batman and Dracula is really fun. It's a fun time. It has a bit of a goofy ending, but it's very atmospheric. It's pretty creepy, for a Batman cartoon. I think it's a fun watch. If you have HBO Max, check it out. If you like the Batman, as in the Batman cartoon, check it out. I don't have too much to say about it. There's some clever stuff in there, obviously, and Batman and Dracula have a similar motif going on, and they play with that a good fair bit. Like I said, not too much to say. Bottom of B tier, not going to have too much to say about that kind of thing. So, these Batman and Robin kind of semi-recent DC straight-to-video animated movies, I haven't seen these in a while, but I know they're mid. So, drop them in C. Batman, what is this called? I don't know if this is called Batman Gotham Knight, or what is this called? Yeah, Batman Gotham Knight or some shit like that. These are good. These are really good. I think this belongs maybe pretty close to the top of B tier. I really like the Deadshot one. For those of you that don't know or don't remember, I think these were tie-ins to the Dark Knight movies. And they don't do too much to try and tie them in at all, or even visually tie them in. But as far as I'm concerned, they're just really good anthologies. One of them is very similar to the Batman animated series episode, where it kind of shows the kids' different perspectives of Batman. And in that episode, they show it more as like the kids see Batman as of different eras. One's a Dick Sprang, kind of 50s campy Batman. That was his experience with Batman. One was more of a Dark Knight Returns kind of feel to him. He thought he was more gritty. The other kid thought he was more friendly, like a cop, like a good, well-to-do cop. I don't want to know politics in my tier list. You get what I'm saying, though. Different perspectives on Batman. In the Gotham Knights, their take on it was that it's like different kinds of monsters, which is very cool, and it actually fits in really well to the kind of the Batman Begins theme of like fear and everything, and Batman being more like a monster or an urban legend, which I really appreciate. Plus, the animation is really cool. Batman and Harley Quinn is dog shit, and it breaks my heart to put it this low. Cannot go below Killing Joke. No way. The only thing maybe saving that is because it has to do with the DCAU, like Bruce Timm universe, which I love. I'll consume anything that comes out of that universe. But this is maybe the worst thing that's ever come out of that universe. It's a very bad movie. It's very childish, yet an adult in a very an 8-year-old saying fuck kind of way. It's not good. It fails on all fronts. I'm sure the animation is fine, but very, very childish and not in a charming way or anything. I actually watched this with a young Batman fan, a family friend, and she is not, she'll put up with anything. She'll watch anything with us. I put this on, and she left the room. That should say a lot to you about how terrible this movie is. Because I guess she's the demographic of this movie. I don't know who this was made for. I have no idea. I think maybe they were aiming for like Tumblr, like teenagers, like or teenage girls. Maybe, but this did not land with my family friend who falls into that kind of around that category. I don't know. You get it. Bad movie. Batman, I think this is called Bad Blood. I think, if I remember correctly, this was a half-assed kind of attempt at doing Battle for the Cowl. along with some other things. This belongs in C tier with all these. So far, this is just the bad direct-to-video kind of era. Actually, no. Okay, I haven't seen this one either. The Batman. I've seen one of those Batman Lego movies out of curiosity because they did Jason Todd in one of them. Is this the one with Jason Todd? I don't think so. There's one with Jason Todd that I saw, and that is not on the tier list, so that one's going in NA. But it wasn't that bad, you know. I would recommend it for a kid. It kind of goes along with these kind of other Batman. I think these are called Unlimited, Animal Instinct, and whatnot. These ones. It's kind of like that, you know. It's fine for kids. It's not too interesting, but at least I remember the one I did watch, the Lego Batman straight to DVD. There's a pretty good attempt at a story there. You know, it's not terrible. It's a fun time, and I just thought it would be weird for them to tackle Red Hood in a Batman Lego movie. So, speaking of Lego Batman, the actual theatrical Lego Batman, I think this belongs pretty high. I can't put a parody, you know, above some of these other guys, but it's a great movie. It has a good story. It has very charming animation. I love stop motion, and even though it's not true stop motion animation, it captures that style very well. And a lot of my childhood was spent watching and making crude Lego Batman animations. So that one struck a lot of chords with me. I like it a lot, and it's pretty funny. It's a pretty good in-house parody, which you don't see too often. Usually when companies parody themselves, it comes off as very disingenuous, but it came from a place of love, and it still felt genuine, and it still felt fun. Batman Ninja Turtles. This is the tippity top of C tier. It's a fun time, but outside of the novelty of seeing, you know, Batman fight Shredder and Batman with the Ninja Turtles and stuff, it's not too hot. It's not too great. I remember the animation being good. It's fine. That's why it's in C tier. Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure these were competently made. I'm sure these people probably deserved more money than they were given to make these movies. But just as, you know, purely as watching them as art and taking them in, Batman Ninja Turtles is okay. If you're a Ninja Turtles fan and a Batman fan, watch it. Please pay full price for it, you know. Mystery of the Batwoman. Again, I do have this as another Bruce Timm DCAU Batman the Animated Series tie-in. I think this was the last DCAU thing produced until it kind of had a resurgence where you had like the Justice League and the Fatal Five and kind of the new comics, but for a while this was the very last thing in the DCAU. I think this also belongs near the top of C tier. I think Ninja Turtles is better, but Mystery of the Batwoman is okay. It's fun to see, you know, just more of that DCAU style. Like I said, I love that. Other than that, though, it's not at all a good adaptation. Or, sorry, I shouldn't say good. It's not at all a faithful adaptation of Batwoman from the comic books. I'm not even a huge fan of Batwoman, but it's a very strange, very different take on Batwoman. And after the first watch, you kind of get it. You don't need to rewatch it. These Batman Superman movies are going places. These are going to be pretty high. These go for me over the Lego Batman movie. Definitely the quality and you know just quality and various other things. It probably belongs objectively below the Lego Batman movie. But for me, I love the Batman Superman pairing, and those two movies kind of go hand in hand for me, even though they are quite different. Public Enemies just basically sounds like what it is. Superman and Batman are on the run. They wind up fighting a government or Lex Luthor. I don't remember. Maybe both. Either way, they're opposed to the Justice League. They fight Captain Atom and Shazam. Batman Apocalypse is, I think they go fight Darkseid with Supergirl, Batman, and Superman. And both of those have great Superman-Batman moments, and Batman and Superman are my favorite superhero duo of all time. Better than, Batman and Robin or whatever you want. So better than, any Avengers pairing you can think of. I just love Batman and Superman. So those go very high for me. Dark Knight Returns, parts 1 and 2, probably also above the Lego Batman movie. I gotta rewatch these very soon, but as far as the adaptations go, that's one of the best, like the straight adaptations into an animated picture. Peter Weller is a great Dark Knight, and the animation's actually really good on that one. They don't add anything unnecessary. They don't spend too much time on anything. They just kind of adapt the comic pretty accurately, and it's very fun to watch in motion. So Batman Hush, I'm going to do Batman Hush and Gotham by Gaslight in the same little move here. I think these both belong in C tier. I think Batman Hush belongs at the bottom, but Batman Gotham by Gaslight belongs somewhere in the middle. In my opinion, Batman Hush, it's not too offensive, not nearly as offensive as Killing Joke, but it definitely doesn't elevate the material. And the change they make to Hush is pretty unnecessary. There's some of these changes they make in the more modern adaptations of the comics to straight-to-video movies that are just unnecessary. And I think they're trying to please certain people that they're like, well, I already read the comic. Give me something at least a little different. But if you wanted that, you have the comic right there, man. It's this, it's a different medium. You should just adapt it to the new medium and try and placate to that. You should try and, make more interesting fight scenes, make more elaborate fight scenes, give the voice actors something to do. But instead, they make cheap twists that contradict the source material. So that's why Batman Hush is very mediocre. The change they do for Gotham by Gaslight is a lot more sensible, and I think it actually mixes two different Gotham by Gaslight stories. I could be wrong, but either way, the story plays better, and the twist is much more understandable. For those of you that don't know, once again, in Gotham by Gaslight, it's basically an 1800s Victorian Batman, and he's fighting IRL Jack the Ripper, which I guess it's been long enough that you can make a Batman story about Jack the Ripper. I wonder when Batman will fight Osama bin Laden. Thanks, Frank Miller. But Gotham by Gaslight, basically at the end, it winds up that Commissioner Gordon, I don't remember if maybe his name's fucking Inspector Gordon because it's Britain or something, I don't know. But basically, Commissioner Gordon is Jack the Ripper, and it kind of falls in line with real-life theories that Jack the Ripper was a cop who just wanted to kill prostitutes because they're criminals. I think that's a real theory about it or something. So it kind of falls in line with what some people think about real life, and it kind of makes some type of sense. And also, just the style of Batman in the 1800s, Victorian Batman, it looks pretty cool. It's pretty fun, and it's different from a lot of other shit that you get. So that's why it kind of beats out like Batman Bad Blood or Hush. It's not generic Batman, at least, even though it's that same kind of quality. Justice League Dark. So I don't know why some Justice League movies get on here, but some don't. I guess more the ones with the Batman focus get on here. Justice League Dark, I would say it's the top of C tier. I think it's more interesting and more fun than the Ninja Turtles one. I haven't seen it in a while, but I love the, Zatanna, John Constantine types. I love the magic world of DC. And Batman's not a terrible fit for some of these guys. You know what? There actually is another Batman movie I'd like to talk about that's not on this tier list. I'll put the poster on the screen of the movie I'm talking about. I can't remember the name. I think it's Batman Enter the Dragon. I could be wrong, but it's about Batman and his training in the 70s. It's well stylized. It's a pretty good story. It gets a little silly towards the end, but there's pretty cool fight scenes, a lot of cool 70s characters, and you get Richard Dragon, who's basically DC Bruce Lee, and it's a lot more character work than you typically see in some of these straight-to-video Batman movies, which I really appreciate. And I like the way that you get to see the perspective of his teammates in the early years of Batman. So if I had to pick, I would probably put that on the top of B tier, actually. I'd put that pretty dang high. So maybe this is an older tier list. I did not bother to check. But if it was here, top of B tier. And I'm going to do some general recommendations. If you like Batman and you like the 70s, that kung fu, like, what is it called? Blaxploitation shit. That 70s style. It's really fun movie. All right, so I only got some pretty interesting picks left now. I think Batman v Superman I will have to do next because the rest of these I actually really like. Batman v Superman I think I will put below Killing Joke. Well, I don't like Killing Joke, and they somehow made the key, or not the key, they made one of the major issues from the comic even worse through trying to fix it, in my opinion, for the Killing Joke. At least Batman's characterization is still intact. It's still it is a performance by Kevin Conroy, which is always, at least above average, much love and respect to Kevin Conroy. Here, Ben Affleck, I'm sure Ben Affleck is trying, but just this fucking movie it's the worst depiction of Batman I think I've ever seen as far as official materials go. Worse than Batman and Robin by far. It takes itself far too seriously. And Batman just brutalizes people. It's not even cool. Like, not only does he brutalize people and kill them, but it's not even visually interesting when he does. Like, you see him slam a giant, fucking 20-ton shipping container, and then there's just blood splatter on the wall, or he's just blowing up cars. Like, at least let me watch him beat someone to death. Ben Affleck looks very silly in that fucking Party City Batman muscle suit that a 5-year-old would wear. It's a bad movie, and not only that, as you can see in my A tier, I love Batman and Superman. I have Superman Batman Apocalypse and Superman Batman Public Enemies right up there, pretty close to the fucking tippity top there. I love Batman and Superman. This movie pays no love to their relationship in any type of way. It bothers me. It's really bad, and I'm not quick to call people stupid or say they don't understand something. But as far as I'm concerned, it's fucking 5 years after the movie comes out. If you still think that movie's good, you're fucking retarded. I don't care. There's nothing redeeming or good about that movie. It's terrible. Fuck Zack Snyder. Respect to him for getting his Justice League made. But Batman v Superman is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And that does, come with the baggage of me being a huge Batman Superman fan. But at the same time, with my interest in mind, with my expectations and my tastes in mind, that's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like, people say a lot of Zack Snyder stuff, like, oh, it's his vision. Well, his vision is fucking shit. His vision is terrible. Justice League actually is a lot better. Zack Snyder's Justice League, not Joss Whedon. I'm not going that hard on you. But Zack Snyder's Justice League is a lot better. If I had to put that on here, it'd be bottom of C tier. It's better than Batman and Robin. I'll give you that, Zach. I'll give you that. What is this? Assault on Arkham. I love this movie, and I'm going to lump this in with the other Suicide Squad movie. It's not on here. What is it called? Hell to Pay. I don't think Batman's even in that movie, but I just wanted to mention it real quick and kind of lump it in here. These are both very high tier movies. These are both very good. I might even put these at the tippity top of B tier here. Dark Knight Returns, both of those kind of just get grandfathered in for the fact that it's just Frank Miller and it's a good adaptation of an already great comic. But these are, I think, original stories. Assault on Arkham and Hell to Pay. I think those are both original stories. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, then they're great adaptations too. And they belong pretty high here. The only reason I say that is if you want to watch some cool Batman stuff or some cool DC stuff, I wouldn't even say start with Dark Knight Returns. Read the comics. If you want to watch a cool cartoon, watch Assault on Arkham, watch Hell to Pay. Those are really cool movies. Same with Doom. Doom is an adaptation of a comic. for a fact. I have not read that comic, though. But it's a very cool premise. Real quick, if you don't know, I think I'll put this above that. This might even be A tier, to be honest. Just for the premise. And the premise is executed pretty well. Basically, it's Batman. Batman, he's known as the man with the plan. He has the contingencies not only for Superman, but to take out every member of the Justice League. Those plans are stolen by the Legion of Doom. And they are co-opted. They are intensified and used against all of the heroes of the Justice League. And the Justice League are not happy with Batman. It's a very cool movie. Very fun movie. If you're a DC fan, if you're a Batman fan, if you like seeing Batman with the Justice League at all, great movie to watch. Very fun movie to watch. I might even put this higher. It belongs, I think, above the Lego Batman movie. So we got some great movies left, and I think you can guess that perhaps, a couple of these will wind up in S tier, hopefully. Phantasm goes very far, but it does not meet the mark. It is better than Return of the Joker, I will say. It's definitely one of the best looking DCAU Bruce Timm animated movies. It's one of the best looking animated movies on this list. It's one of the best theatrical released Batman movies. Fucking love this movie. It's great. It's a fun time. I don't really like the inclusion of the Joker. I'm just not too hot on the Joker in general. But of course, the top 4 things right now on the tier list have the Joker in it. And I don't know what that boils down to, is like the character's versatile or just like huge talents, just love working with him, or I don't know what it is. But I'm not too hard on the Joker, so that should say a lot about these top 4 movies right here. And Mask of the Phantasm specifically, the Joker aside, it's a very grounded movie for the DCAU. It's a pretty grounded movie, even just for Batman in general, which is a breath of fresh air. If you were to watch all of these, it would definitely be one of the few times where you feel like, it's not some silly bullshit all the time. It's a pretty good thriller. It's definitely more violent and pretty gritty, especially for the animated movies. And it's a good story. It's a good story about kind of the beginnings of Batman, early Batman, and his past coming back to haunt him, and him dealing with, his crusade against crime versus his personal life, things like that. It's very good, very good. And I think a lot of the elements in Batman Phantasm here, they kind of connect a lot with Batman Begins and Red Hood, actually, in a lot of ways. Like I said, the past coming back to bite him in terms of, you get that in Batman Begins, but even more so in Batman Under the Red Hood. Of course, because his mistake, Jason comes back to fight him. And in Batman Begins, of course, that's early years Batman, like Phantasm. It's kind of interesting. I didn't think about that. But I guess in general, for me, the origins or beginnings of any story or character is, I think, the most rife for storytelling and mining storytelling. And I think when you start a story, people are very engaged, so it's easier to pull from that later, which is why I think the Under the Red Hood story connects with a lot of people, or even just the Red Hood story in general. People love Red Hood. I'm not a fan of Red Hood, and I'm not a fan of Joker, which should say a lot about Batman Under the Hood, Under the Red Hood. Under the Hood is the comic book. Under the Red Hood is the animated movie. But I think that should tell you a lot about how good that movie is. And most of Under the Red Hood deals with Batman's kill rule, the kind of line he draws in the sand, why he draws it. He kind of spells it out for you at the end of the movie. But it's still good. It's still animated well. The voice cast is good. And yeah, I don't have too much more to say about Batman Under the Red Hood, but huge recommend. If you have not seen any of the animated movies here, I would probably recommend you watch that one. I'd probably recommend you watch Batman Under the Red Hood, Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, and Assault on Arkham. But of course, really anything B tier and up is a pretty solid recommend from me. And then finally, so that's my cartoon for S tier, but my live action movie for S tier is Batman Begins. Batman Begins is my favorite Batman movie of all time. I don't know that it will ever be topped. I'm very excited for Matt Reeves' The Batman coming in 2022. But as for Batman Begins, yeah, I don't think it will really probably ever be topped for me, just because I feel like the theme of fear is so well woven into the plot of the movie, into all the characters. You have the different aspects of fear and how it's implemented by mob bosses, superheroes, supervillains, and Ra's al Ghul is my favorite Batman villain of all time. Even though it's not a crazy accurate representation, but it's still a good representation. It's still a good adaptation, I should say. It's not a one-to-one reflection of the comic character, but I think it's a good reflection in terms of his conflict with Batman. It's very interesting. The actual action in the movie is pretty notoriously not great. It's very jumpy, very cutty, but I think it's meant to be that way just to service the theme of fear, and these actions of violence are supposed to be scary, not exciting. That being said, though, you can still do a lot more to make them visually interesting. I'm not saying it's excusable, and I'm not saying it's good, the action, a lot of the times. But I do think for the most part it's deliberate, and it does service the theme, which is more than can be said for, a lot of superhero movies. So I think that about wraps it up for my list here. I'm sure you've seen Batman Begins and the Nolan trilogy. But if you haven't, I know some of you haven't, go watch Batman 1989. It's a great time. Go watch Mask of the Phantasm for a fact. And have a fucking cool day. Hold up. I also started a podcast with my good friend Evan. It's called RNS, Real Nerd Shit, and we kind of just tell you how it is. We kind of just give you our thoughts on pop culture stuff, on movies, TV shows, and various things like that. Recently, we did an episode on the new Nickelodeon Smash Bros. Clone, Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, I believe it's called. That will be out today. We also did an episode reviewing Endgame. I'm not too hot on Endgame. Evan was pretty lukewarm on it. It's a pretty good discussion, and I think it's a perspective on Endgame you don't hear too often. And the first episode we did was on Spider-Man No Way Home, speculating about what we might see in the movie, talking about what we do already know about the movie, as well as the future of Spider-Man going forward. Things like what villains will be in the movie too, and the costumes and stuff. It's a fun discussion. It is a fun discussion. Go check out that channel. Again, it's RNS. It will be in the description of this video, and it'll also be in the channels on my channel, RNS. So go check that out. So again, RNS podcast. Check that out. Link in the description, as well as the Patreon link in the description. And just in general, thanks for watching this video. It was actually really fun to make.